No, my dad. I bought this shitty power boat in upstate New York a couple of summers ago, and it was a huge waste of money. But I bought it from this guy, and it had like the back of it was cracking. I mean, it was just the dumbest thing. But I bought it because where I was upstate, then we were on the Hudson River. So I had this weird idea to take the boat to New York City from Hudson, New York.
Hey, it's connected.
120 miles up. And I called my dad, who we don't really speak much, my dad, and I called him out of nowhere and said, "You want to take this trip with me?" So he drove, and I'm with my dad, who I don't really communicate with, and we took this trip down the Hudson River on this boat. And when we got into the mouth of the fucking Hudson here, New York Harbor.
The Hudson River isn't really that bad, but there are parts around Manhattan that are fucking treacherous.
By the way, I had no knowledge of boating or anything.
Oh no!
You don't need anything to buy a boat. You just buy it.
You don't really need a license.
You go to you have to register. You only have to go to the DMV to register the trailer that it sits on.
Yeah.
And when you do that, if they have one, they throw you a boating manual and say, if you could take a look at this.
Yeah.
So I just went out on the river, just with no fucking idea. I don't even know how much my gas tanks hold.
Oh, you are fucking crazy. You're an accident waiting to happen.
You don't even know where the next gas station or the fill up will be.
Well, because I'm fine with if I run out of gas on the boat, and then someone takes it and they keep the boat. I don't care. So I stop at a gas station, I find this river community there is. It's really fascinating. I stop at a gas station, he fills me up, and I just I tell the guy, I'm going to New York City, tell me everything I need to know. So he goes, well, first of all, you're missing about 50 things that
are essential.
That you have to have. You're in illegal territory, and he gives me life vests. But because I'm buying shit from him, he's happy to give me information.
Sure.
And he explains to me that Hudson River is not a river. It's not a river at all. It's not a river with a source that's flowing to the ocean. Yeah. It's called an estuary. It's a crack
it's
in
affected
the
by
continents.
tides.
Yes, and it's basically the Atlantic Ocean sloshes up in and out of the river. And he says if you hit Manhattan at a bad time, you're going to be in the Atlantic Ocean, basically.
What do you mean? You mean it's all ocean water?
Great.
It's ocean water sloshing in and out, and it's flowing. It's flowing now, but it's tidal. It's a tidal estuary. And so there was, because when I was it was like glass. It was beautiful where I was.
Of course.
And he goes, it's not going to stay like that. Try not to get there around rush hour, because also there's ferries down there.
Yes,
that don't care.
Of course.
Who you are.
Yeah.
You do.
So that's, I don't listen to people. So I showed up at like 5:30 p.m. on the fucking Hudson River, and I'm going under the George Washington Bridge. I mean, it's the craziest thing I've ever done. I'm with my dad, who's 70-something. I don't even know how old he is. And my dad is trying not to show how much this is hurting his body, because I'm his son, and he's ashamed that I'm actually I'm fucking shattering his skeleton. His fucking teeth are falling out and shit.
And he's just like, are you hearing that sound on the hall? That
man, we were hitting so hard.
Bam sound.
And I don't know how to ride a boat, so I don't know if you're supposed to.
You probably didn't have it trimmed out right or anything.
Nothing.
Like, you could trim a boat out for water where you're putting the front end down.
I know a little bit about
water.
That, but I don't have.
Did you have your trim tabs?
I had a trimmy thing on the throttle, and I'm trying to make that hard ride, man.
But he's probably riding way back, just slamming into waves
so hard, and
you think the hull's going to crack.
It's crazy. And then when we get further and further in, there's a point where I've got the engine running at full bore, and I ain't moving. I'm just going up and down, bang, bang, because we realized, me and we're getting soaked, and we realized that and ferries are fucking booking past us, just crazy honking at us, not stopping.
Holy
nothing.
Shit.
And I realized that, because I pictured, what's the worst that happens? The boat sinks under you, and then you just tread water and you wave at the helicopter.
Ferry picks you up or something, or the helicopter.
I realized if this thing goes down, the waves are we're gonna just disappear into black water. There's gonna be nothing left of us. And I'm trying to get, and also I was supposed to park in New Jersey. I called ahead and rented a space on a dock in New Jersey.
Yeah,
and I'm
slip
next to Manhattan, and I can see New Jersey, but I can't move. I can't get across the river.
Kind
because
of
the
fucking
ferries.
piece of shit engine.
No, and also these waves are throwing me like towards these big fucking cement walls in Manhattan. And with
This
big
sounds like a
fucking old
nightmare.
wooden pile. It's like the worst thing that ever happened. My arms are aching from like
trying to keep the boat.
boat in
Did
one
you regret your
direction.
decision at this point?
I started to regret a lot.
Did
of
you
it.
wave to New Jersey as you were heading toward the
Yeah,
ocean?
it took
Goodbye,
us.
Jersey.
Oh my God!
It took us about 4 hours to get the 120 miles from the Hudson, New York to George Washington Bridge, and from the George Washington Bridge to that big Colgate sign in New Jersey.
Yeah,
I think that took us like several hours. I mean, it just took all fucking day. I mean, it was the worst thing.
and then other times of the day, the water's sloshing out, and you know,
no, that night the way I got
And you're
home was
fine,
I
yeah.
went home. I did research fucking like a person.
you knew the tides at that
I
point.
sent my
or-
dad home on the train because I had to get the boat
His
out of there.
Shattered skeleton and broken teeth in his hand.
Put about 50 years on him.
Holy
took
shit.
a few of the last few years he had left.
Oh my God! That's
and I got on
horrible.
the boat at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I got back on the boat, and it was just like a piece of glass. And I stood on the boat, just going around. It was the greatest. Then that was the greatest thing. By the Statue of Liberty, around the base under Manhattan, went up the East River.
Yeah.
By the
By LaGuardia
by
and the
the
prison.
UN building and everything, and the prisons. And I had the greatest right in the middle of the night with a fucking
I would love to do that,
radio
man.
blasting, just standing on this boat, just fucking.
And
I would
earlier
love
in
to
the
do
day,
that.
it was just bam.
Oh my God!
Oh, is that fucked
Was
up?
that the tides, though, or just all the traffic, or both?
Both, because the traffic stirs
Yeah,
up.
chews
After a while,
it up.
it's
Sure.
this cauldron.
But it's the
Fucking sick.
When high tide hits in the Atlantic, yeah, it pushes the water up the river.
Yep.
So the actual river's flowing down from
Yes.
the Hudson, but the tide is stronger, so it pushes it back.
Yeah.
Pushing it
Then
back.
when the tide lets go, all that fucking water that it pushed up comes rushing back in.
Yeah.
But when you're going in when the tide's coming up and you're
It's
trying to go
sick.
south down the Hudson River, fuck you.
It's
That's
crazy.
you're battling the ocean.
We're the
in
only
a tiny
boat-
channel.
We were the only boat going south.
Heading that way, and they were
The
probably
only
all
one.
like, "Who is this fucking
what is he
idiot?"
doing?
And other boats were looking at us.
Yeah.
I noticed it because we went under the Tappan Zee. We went under all this.
Yeah.
And when you're on a little boat looking up at those structures, they scare the shit out
Oh,
of you.
yeah,
Like,
they're
it makes you
giant.
feel like you're standing on something too
Looking
high.
nothing.
Like it gives you this vertigo
Yeah.
when you're by one of those pylons that supports the Tappan Zee Bridge, and you're going by it on a little boat. It's just, you feel sick to your stomach because you're like, this is all just too huge for me. This is like Blade Runner. Like I can't hack.
Wait,
this.
what kind of, it was like a little motorboat? It was like a,
It was smaller than that shit that's upside down in Florida right now.
Well, that's a
that we're looking at.
20-footer that we're looking at on TV.
It was, I don't know how many feet it was.
Probably had
It was
like
four seats, front
18
and back.
maybe, or a
Can
and
I-
a little tiny fake cuddy cabin. And
Can I
that's it.
solve this
Oh.
mystery for everybody? The NFL player thing. It's so obvious what happened because the guy they rescued was sitting on top of the thing, holding on to the anchor.
Yeah.
When this fucking thing flipped over, it was every man for themselves, and it's
Yeah.
like, fuck you. I know we're all friends, but now it's like whoever the strongest guy is going to survive because
Yeah.
there was only one slot to hang on, and it
That's
was the
right.
position that guy took.
He was Kate Winslet while Leo froze in the water.
slipped under the surface.
I would bet money there was some kind of struggle, and this guy won over the other three because they all went into panic mode. Because if you look at the boat, there's nowhere else to hold on to.
Yeah. It's possible.
You would think, maybe life jackets.
Yeah,
things
why
like
only
that.
one? It feels like they got in a fight about something else.
Yeah, maybe.
Like maybe, why are you in the NFL and I suck? That's horrible.
But-
People are dead.
But that's the
I
only
didn't know
reason.
'em.
That's the only reason one
It's
guy
not my
survived.
mom. It's not me. It's not my kids.
That's the only reason
Fuck
one guy
you.
survived. It was the only one spot
Right.
available, and there was four of them.
That was it.
So they went into panic.
Maybe
the one
they
guy got
chose
up
him.
there.
Maybe they chose
Fuck
him.
no. The other guys just they're fish
Wait,
food,
the
man.
anchor, there was no way for four people.
Look at the boat and how it's tipped over. There's
What part was
nowhere
the
to hold
anchor?
on to.
What part was the anchor? That hole? That thing looks like a hole?
They said they were anchored.
I don't know. I don't think. Here's what I think happened because, and I'm taking it from my own stupid experience. The thing you don't realize till you're out there, like in any kind of bad waters, you picture shit from a movie.
Yeah.
You picture shit going down and that you just step off the boat while it's sinking, and then that you and your friends tread water and talk about it for a while.
Yeah.
And that one by one and you try to help each other, and whatever, a shark comes and eats one. That there's this whole thing where the humans survive. But when a boat goes down, it takes fucking a nanosecond for your dumb little lungs to fill with water, and you're
just dead.
Sink.
You're gone.
The other three guys.
You're being picked at by little fish as you're going down to the bottom.
Really quickly.
Yeah.
That's it. They're just that lifeless fucking dull eyeball is just being plucked away.
Oh, God.
It's just weird that one survivor had a nice seat on top of the boat. He was,
well, he
king
was
of the
lucky.
hill.
He was
lucky, or he had better reflexes, because that shit happens really when a boat capsizes in bad water. There's just everybody dies.
It's
fast.
not a slow. Hey, I think we're rolling over.
Yeah.
This boat's rolling. We're underwater.
Oh, that's not
Gone.
oxygen. Whoops.
Dead.
I'm dead now.
But your boat story rules. I always wanted to go up and down that Hudson River, too. Now I learned a lot today from you.
Oh, it was well
I'm
worth
going to have to study some shit before I do
Well,
it.
because I learned, because when I went up to Hudson to get this house that now belongs to my ex-wife, we went we found this town called Hudson in New York that's this really, it looks like Nantucket. It's a very colonial-looking kind of, it looks like a New England town. And I read about it, and I found out that what Hudson, New York is, it's 120 miles up the river. And what it is they were people from Nantucket who were whalers. And back in the 1800s, the British kept just burning their ships and burning their town. The British would just sit outside of Nantucket and just lob.
Those British.
There was no war going
bastards.
on. They were just being assholes. Seriously. During the 1800s, that's the War of 1812 was just the British just being dicks.
Yeah.
And us going, you really got to cut the shit, and them going, hey, fuck off, and just they would just launch cannonballs in and set Nantucket on fire for fun. So a bunch of people near Nantucket said, let's just get out of here, and they all left together, all these whalers. And they found Hudson, New York, which was a nice place to build a town up the Hudson River. And so what they would do is they take their whaling ships. This is the fucking 1800s. People, like, with wood and iron.
Yeah.
They took their ships and they go out into the fucking North Atlantic and they'd kill a whale. And they'd drag it with these boats up the Hudson River, all those fucking miles. And they'd cut it up and then send it down the river in pieces.
You know,
and
that
sell it in
isn't
New York.
right, man.
Oh, the whale thing?
Yeah, man.
Fuck.
Like back then, there were fucking whales. You could walk across the whales.
You had to get it
Fuck
to
'em.
England.
Yeah, I got to go to England. I'm going to just
Step across whales.
I'm going to drive my little fucking jalopy across the whales.
Exactly. But so then they were safer there. The English couldn't get at them.
They just said, fuck it, we're going to hang
and then
out
it
here.
became this port because people were, so farmers in upstate New York would take their sheep and slaughter them in Hudson and send the meat down river to New York City.
So fucking primitive.
Yeah, that's how
amazing.
shit was.
Yeah.
There's the town we bought a house in used to be all whorehouses for farmers.
Really?
They were whorehouses with stables. So like a farmer would drive his sheep.
You could fuck a girl or a sheep.
Yeah, it was
or
like a few
horse.
miles out of Hudson. So the night before you went into Hudson to sell your sheep, you'd put them in a stable and fuck a whore, and then take your sheep the rest of the way
What a
home.
great little system.
I know.
Everything like planned out,
simple then.
make people happy.
Exactly.
Keep the economy going.
There's a guy that had an experience like you did that you just told. Steve in Pennsylvania. Steve.
Yeah, how you doing, guys?
Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, Catskill, New York. 20-foot bayliner, single screw, 175 horse. I read the tide charts. My business partner had a 33-foot Carver. We used to take down and from that same marina, go down around the statue, come back. It was a great time. So I bought this 20-footer, put the wife, the two kids in it, my two girls, real young at the time, and I took off, big shot, down the Hudson, beautiful ride, and I got down to that area that you're talking about. I was doing prop stands where the boat was just almost just like straight up, the front of the boat straight up, motor just whining, hull banging.
Shit.
I finally get into a marina because I needed fuel. My wife and my oldest daughter got off the boat and said,
And you never saw them again.
Yeah, we're not
Never
getting up.
saw them
I'm
again.
running off at the gas station, guy. Fuck you.
No, that shit is gnarly. It's really fucking bad because it's New York Harbor. Manhattan. People don't understand. There is no Hudson. The Hudson's not on the west and the east. There's no such thing as the East River. That's what people don't understand. It's all in New York Harbor. It's a harbor of the Atlantic Ocean.
Right.
That on the left side, it looks like a river, so we call that the Hudson River.
Yeah.
And then we call the East River
It's
the
just
East River.
because there's Manhattan Island in the middle
of the sloshy, crazy, icy ocean.
Yeah.
So is it seawater? The Hudson's seawater?
Well, no, it's
certain times of day, it's
brackish
salt water.
certain parts
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
day.
It's like salty.
It pushes the salt water.
It's
in.
where, water, whatever the fuck.
And then when it's the river's running out into the ocean, it's fresh water.
Yeah, and where this guy is Catskill. There's a harbor. There's a little place there where you can take your boat in and you get something to eat. I mean, it's a fun world, the boat world, but
yeah, it really
you
is.
don't know what the fuck you're doing, like I didn't.
I was in the boat world years ago with my mother and Sal. Sal was just Mr. fucking boat.
How big was the boat?
His is a 38-foot Sea Ray.
Okay.
I mean, it was really fucking nice, really nice. And he would drink.
You can park that shit anywhere.
He would fucking drink on the way from, like, I guess they were in where is it? Oakdale, Long Island. Out to Watch Hill on Fire Island, and he'd be drinking fucking. We'd all be slamming down drinks and stuff. He'd be making mudslides and blenders down in the kitchen, and this thing had like a galley and everything. And he'd be hammered and back this fucking thing into slips
Yes.
that like were. There's
these
no
guys
way.
are amazing. They can do
And
that.
dual screws, so
Yeah.
he's running like the transmission to get the props going in opposite directions
Yeah.
to turn the boat, so he could swing the thing
well,
around
the
and then
first-
back it into the slip.
Really, the first boat I had was a little orange, like with a white steering wheel. Like it just looked like a little race car, you know. And it was
A
just
go-kart for the water.
two-seat boat, like
Yeah.
really tiny little fiberglass boat that I saw on someone's yard for sale for $800. And I was like, "Fuck it,
Bargain.
I'm gonna just buy it." And I just knocked on the guy's door, and he was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll pay it." And I gave him the $800. It's just sitting there on a trailer. And then I'm like, "Well, now what do I do?" Like from scratch.
Yeah.
And I had an old Ford Ranger pickup, and I went to the fucking Napa and bought the ball
Trailer hitch,
the trailer hitch. And I got the wrong size and went back. And then I put the fucking...
Already wrong.
Yeah, and then the guy watched from his window laughing as I tried to put a trailer hitch on a fucking truck. It took me like an hour sweating. And then I took it down to the Hudson where they had to, you back your boat down.
Oh, the Ram.
Yeah, and I have no idea how to do it or what
How'd
to do.
you do?
So there's an old man, literally an old seaworthy looking man with a white beard watching me do this. And I just decided I'm not just going to try. So I just...
Oof.
It takes me hours to line it up because when you're backing something with a trailer and jackknifes on
it's
you, and
backwards.
all of your instincts are wrong.
Let me tell you, I had a jet ski and I had the same problem until somebody told me, put your hand on the bottom of the steering wheel, and wherever you want the back end of the trailer
That's
to go,
genius.
your hand. Let your hand go that way. So instead
Nobody
of trying to
told me
think
that.
right, left, I want the trailer to go this way.
Yeah.
I move my hand that way.
That's really
and if it's on the
smart.
bottom of the steering wheel, and then it got to the point where I could do it with my eyes closed after a while.
Well,
but
I backed it down,
the
and
first
I also,
time, oof.
the boat is strapped hard to a trailer, and the plug is out in the back of it. That's how you keep a boat.
Right, yeah.
You keep it strapped down to the trailer with the plug in the back. Now, what I know now is the way you launch a boat, and then it's tethered in the front by a winch.
Oh, yeah.
So the way you do it is you let go of the strap, you take the straps off, so it's just loose, only held on by the winch, and you put a plug in the back of the boat, so that when the trailer goes into the water, the wheels of the trailer go down in the water, and the boat floats on top of the water. Mm-hmm. Well, what I was doing was it's held to the trailer, so the trailer's dragging the boat, and it immediately fills with water. It completely fills with water, and it's also, because it's now weighs billions of tons, threatening to drag my fucking truck into the water, and I am peeling out.
Panicking?
What's Popeye doing watching you? Is he laughing at
my
you?
mind. Oh,
A
yeah,
little bit of a panic set
He's
in?
just watching, and I have the car floored, the truck floored, and the wheels going.
You're just trying to hold ground.
Just trying not to, because it's just a shitty rear-wheel drive,
Right.
and the rear wheels are now in water.
Oh,
and I've just
man.
got water shooting everywhere and smoke, and now the tailpipe is starting to go in. Like, I'm going in the fucking water, and somehow I found some traction somewhere in there, and the whole truck like lurched forward, and this screaming wheels. and the boat came out gung, gung, with water splashing. It was the craziest spectacle. And I stopped and I look up at the guy and he goes, try again. He goes, what'd you learn?
What'd you learn? That's great.
And so I got out of the truck and I'm like, okay, there's a plug in the back. That was dumb to keep it strapped. I said all this out loud, and he's going, "Uh-huh."
Yeah.
And he goes, he said, you know what? The guy said to me, "You're going to be having the time of your life in about half an hour." And I waited for the boat to empty out, put the plug in, and if he was right, in half an hour I was on the fucking river.
Owning a boat.
This is great. With
Owning
beer.
a boat.
Yeah, with beer. Yeah, I'll never do it again.
Boy, how do you get it back onto the trailer? Like, what are there people there?
You have to. No, you have. Yeah, if there's people there waiting, like expert boaters,
they'll start yelling at you.
They hate you.
They're not going to be
They
happy.
will
And
fucking yell at you.
The thing I can't do that those guys do is just fucking drive my boat back onto the thing and then, run up to the to the top of it and winch it.
You back the trailer into the water.
Yeah.
And then
Where's your boat while you do that?
Your
You
boat is
tie your
kind
boat
of
up.
tied up, on the side by the dock. You back in, you quickly, because you're running now because you don't want to be the guy. You get in your boat, you fucking give it a little juice, and up onto the trailer that's kind of halfway
you're supposed
submerged.
to do.
Yeah.
I don't have the skills, so I would use the ropes of the
You got to
boat
cut back.
and
would you
pull it onto the trailer. Sometimes, like
we're using block and tackle.
Yes, exactly. And I'm trying to, and my feet are now in water, getting cut on the bottom of the fucking river.
Yeah, really
There's bottom
smooth
beer
by the
bottles
ramps. Yeah,
and beer
where people
bottles.
throw their beer cans and bottles.
And I've gotten my fingers are bleeding, and I'm grunting, and there's a guy standing on his boat with his hands on his hips, just fucking hating me.
All right, come on. I used to wait for can't back it up guy. They were the worst because you knew it wasn't going to get any faster once it got into the water.
No.
And it's like, you could see him trying to figure out if the back of my truck is going left, the trailer's going right. All right, I gotta do this, and then it's going off the side of the ramp, so he's got to go forward again, and you're just going, come on, come on, and you're just looking at your watch. Time is wasting. The sun's going down. You fucking want to get out there.
God damn it!
And once that guy told me with the hand on the bottom of the wheel, and then I would hang out the window of my truck and just look backwards, not even use the mirror because you couldn't really see.
No, the mirror doesn't help.
And just look out the back and steer it right in
really
there.
Smart,
and then getting in was the same thing. I'd back it up, take the jet ski, and just right up onto the trailer. You clip the front winch thing on there, and don't even winch it all the way up. No. Now drive that fucker off the ramp.
Yeah, and then you do your work
take care
out
of your
there.
shit in the parking lot.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Because there are guys strapping their shit down on the ramp.
Yeah, they're putting the beers back in a cooler.
You could fucking do that in a parking space, you prick.
There's a guy, coal shoveler from Richmond. He writes, "Tell Louis that there are old retired guys that sit down by the boat ramps just to watch people like him and laugh at him. It's a hobby for these guys.
Sharing
really beers, laughing.
Oh, yeah. The boat world is interesting because it's two kinds of people. There are these sort of anarchist, fuck the world people that you can tell they live on their boat and they hate you just for floating by and for not being them. And they don't pay taxes. They live on you know what I mean? They're just off the grid boat people.
Yeah.
And then there's these people that are holding on to this idea that they're Mr. and Mrs. Howell, these fucking people. Because in Hudson, this town I'm describing is a dump. It's all unemployed. There's no business up there. They have a boat club right on the river, and they're taking up the whole fucking river with their docks.
Why don't you come down to the boat club when you're
so
done?
I thought maybe I'll rent a dock from them so I don't have to launch every time. So they have all these empty space. There's just no boats there. So I go in this shitty looking boat club. It's just a fucking dump. It's like a small airport, you know?
Yeah.
Like Syracuse Airport or something. And I go in there, and there's these people in white sweaters and white shorts. And I go, do you rent the docks?
Yachting.
You have to become a member, and you have to, you can't become a member if you don't, if you don't.
Here's some production for you.
You need a
Philly.
reference to become a member.
A reference.
Tell us a little about yourself. And I'm like, I make more than all of you motherfuckers.
Yeah, well.
This guy owns a fucking local car dealership, maybe.
Yeah.
And this cunt owns a Cumberland Farms.
That's where they go to feel important and rich.
Yeah, exactly.
In
I'm
Hudson.
like, I'm famous, you motherfuckers.
My word, show people, not in our club. My goodness.
How much is it to rent a little space to park your boat?
A slip.
It's by the foot. And up there, they wouldn't let me. They just wouldn't let me because I'm not a member of their community.
We
but
know you're part Mexican.
Exactly. I don't remember what it costs. I don't remember. In New Jersey, it's vastly cheaper than New York City, you're like
New York
every
City's gotta
hour
be
you're
crazy.
sweating the hours. It's by the hour and it's by the foot and it's tons.
Oh,
of money.
in New York, you can't just rent and keep your boat there all the time?
Well, if you're rich, yeah. And there's like some like the 79th Street boat basin.
Yeah, there's a few marinas down
that
around
has
Manhattan. Yeah.
like that's a public something, but that's about waiting lists and stuff like
How much
that.
do you think they are? I mean, is it like $50 a day? I mean, I have no
I
concept.
don't even remember. I never rented in New York.
It's probably so much more expensive than having a monthly parking thing in a garage. That's for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of people pull them out during the winter and dry dock.
Yeah.
It's the cheaper
What's
that
dry
way.
dock mean?
You go, you play
not
in
in the water.
Yeah, it's not
Oh,
in the
no,
water.
I mean, but like, where do you dry dock it?
It's usually a
warehouses.
boatyard, a boatyard or an indoor warehouse. But then they actually take them on these big lifts and stack them on shelves in these warehouses or outside. They wrap them in plastic and shrink wrap, and then
that's what those
they
things
stack
are?
them. Yeah,
I always thought they were new boats for sale. I've seen those before.
It's a new boat for sale.
I'll have that one.
And they stack them up, and it's cheaper, and it doesn't get as damaged. You don't have to worry about hurricanes and
Dry docking. It's a lot. Could be a lot worse.
yes, dry docking. There's another one.
Yeah,
another definition.
Two unclipped men in heat.
One with prostate problems.
Dry dock.
All right, so they'll wrap your boat in plastic. Do they come and get it off the marina for you, or you got to bring it to them?
I think they come and get it. Right? Yeah,
don't know.
I think you need a truck to you ever see those giant trucks with giant ships on the expressway?
Yes.
And you're driving just going, what the fuck is what is that? That has no business being on the road.
How big is like a good size yacht? Like a good size fucking rich guy yacht?
Well, geez, they get so huge.
You start getting over 50 feet, and you're talking like, you better know how to fucking drive this thing and with everything.
No.
You got to know how to back it in.
You know how I got, by the way, you know how I got back to New York, back to Hudson, because it was pitch black in some of that. I took the GPS out of my car.
Oh shit!
With a suction cup. That's what kind of I had back then. And I stuck it. I swear to God, it's the smartest thing I ever did.
And
I stuck it on the boat, and it fucking took me. It knew the contour of the river.
Yeah.
The GPS is like, dude, you're not on a road. I
Did
can't
it have
get
you
you
take
anywhere.
the fucking
but
FDR?
This is where you are. For your information, I don't know why you're here, but you're here. And there was a few times that it saved me because I couldn't fucking see, and I wasn't sure what part.
But it doesn't tell you where the rocks are.
Well, and also you can't. You have to stay within a boating. You have to
like
stay
him and Henry Fonda
there's a boating
fishing.
channel.
There's lanes.
There's a
Yeah,
boating
yeah.
channel, and you have to stay within it. But sometimes you lose the buoys, and you don't. You knew. And I did have a chart. Like I can read a chart, and I know where a boating channel is. But I couldn't see. I didn't know how far I was from either shore. I'm in the middle of fucking.
It's that dark out there.
There's a bay. There's a bay right after the Tappan Zee. If you're going north, something bay that's just enormous, and you really can't see the left or the right. So you feel like you're in the ocean, and it gets really scary.
You can get turned
the
around
GPS fucking told me right where I was, and and there was times where I was headed towards
hysterical.
fucking land that I couldn't see because it was just
car GPS.
my car GPS got me back to Hudson.
It probably says specifically not to be used for maritime or aviation use.
Well, you can load them. You can load them with those GPSs with maritime maps. You can.
Yeah,
yeah, but
you
I didn't
can.
have that. I used the car get you home in your car map.
I tell you, the first thing I ever did, and this was horrifically stupid. I bought a Sea-Doo, a 2-seater, sit-down jet ski, a personal watercraft, which obviously I couldn't afford. That's another story.
By the way, on all these boats I bought instead of groceries.
That's what I was.
Part of
Instead
why I'm not
paying
married
rent,
anymore.
things like that.
The one thing I'll cop to is that I did really dumb things with my money my whole life.
They wound up giving me a $10,000 credit card.
Nice.
Because I had gotten a $5,000 one and maxed it out, but I was paying the minimum.
Yeah.
So they just sent me another one and said, "Hey, here's an application." I filled it out, and I had the credit limit was $10,000.
You're a perfect customer.
Now I got a $10,000 credit limit thing. So I went right down to the fucking place where they sell personal watercraft, bought a Sea-Doo and a trailer. The whole thing came out to like $8,000. So I still had $2,000 left on my credit card.
Jesus.
And I'm paying 25% interest on a jet ski and stuff. Believe me, it was a nightmare. But I had the time of my life on that fucking thing.
Can you jet ski on the Hudson or no?
they do
I've seen them out there. Yeah,
Seen them a lot actually.
Where I went though, I wanted to get out to Watch Hill on Fire Island, so I drove out to Patchogue early in the morning, and I crossed the Great South Bay. And it was pea soup fog. I couldn't see shit. I ripped a chart. I went into a store where they sold boating charts and Hagstrom maps, and looked for the page I needed, and looked around and just tore it out and put it in my pocket, and I had a compass. And every like 2 minutes, I'd pull out the chart and the compass, line up which direction I was supposed to go, and just keep going. Through fog. And I could have been broadsided by a boat at any minute because I couldn't see. And then right when the fog broke, I didn't know where I was going to end up. I couldn't possibly think this was going to work. It said, "Welcome to Watch Hill." I pegged it. Fucking nailed Watch Hill from Patchogue.
Isn't that satisfying, though? Didn't you feel good?
It was like I worked, but I only did it once, so I don't know if it worked or I just got really fucking lucky.
Wow. I would have just drove and hoped for the best. That's the difference between you and I.
Go in one direction.
Yeah.
Every 2 minutes, and then
suddenly you become
shut down.
Hyper-aware of how much fucking fuel do I have? How much should I put in? And
you start thinking like shit, like because I would stop the jet ski, so I'd just be kind of bobbing in the water, and I'd have the chart out in the compass, and I'd look around and look down into the water, and I can't see anything. I'm like, I don't know where I am, man. I have no fucking idea.
Those are weird moments when you're like, I don't know how this is going to end up. It's an adventure that's happening to me right now.
This is how people, and you think this is how people die.
Yeah, exactly.
They find them dead.
I used to say to myself stuff in weird situations like that, stuff like, hurry, but don't worry. Like, don't
hurry, but don't worry.
Just try to go fast without your hands shaking.
Yeah.
If you can. I was in Antigua once doing a show in Antigua.
Great.
And I took a jet ski, and I said, how far out can I go? It's kind of a big jet ski. And this bored woman said, you have to stay between these two buoys. But she didn't say how far out I could go.
Yeah.
So I just kept going out further and further and further away till, like, the land is like a little brown strip behind me.
Oh, shit.
And I don't know nothing about water, so this is before I had boats or anything. And I'm starting to go up these gentle rises and then down in these valleys. And I'm not really aware of how that they're getting bigger.
Holy shit.
And I don't know how ocean. I'm in the Caribbean Sea.
You're in the fucking ocean, dude.
Which makes it harder to see the land now.
Yes. And now, so then at one point, the last one I remember seeing was
a perfect storm wave.
I went down. Yeah, it was like that I was going down into this valley of water, and I look, and all around me is blue water.
Oh.
I'm gonna look up, and I just see blue water, just really gentle. It's being very.
It was tricking you.
Fucking
it
with
was
me.
tricking
and
you.
Then
it
I'm
was
climbing
you.
Then I'm climbing one, and I'm going a little bit fucking vertical, and I don't know what this is, and then I go over the top and just fall.
Yeah.
Me and the jet ski just fall in two different people.
Holy
and
shit!
Hit really hard, and then it all swallows me up. And I'm fucking in huge stinging pain. My elbow, like I fucking injured it, like I just couldn't. And then I come up, and the jet ski's in three pieces.
Oh, fuck. What did you do?
Three pieces. The seat, the body is bobbing around. The seat is
somewhere over there.
And then the handlebars, which have foam rubber on them, are going up and down like they're about to sink. And I look, and now that my eyes are two inches above the water. I can't I can't see land, nothing.
Holy shit.
And I'm thinking, what, sharks? I don't know what this is.
Of course.
And then and I realized I'm really fucked. And I had the thing around my wrist that pulled the key
little
out.
lanyard, that stops the jet ski.
Thank God that held, and I held it. I was like, my fingers hurt for how hard I was holding the keys because it was like life. And I swam to the seat. I just had, like, Bob in there, I'm like,
Don't tell me you put this fucker back together.
I need a plan. So I swam for the handlebars first.
You need that more than the seat.
They're really heavy because they're underwater. I'm trying to hold them above the water so they don't weight, so that they're hard. I'm dragging them through water, and then I swam to the seat, I think, and then I got to the thing itself.
You're able to put the whole thing back together?
I threw the seat back up, and I sat up there. Now I'm just sitting. And I'm still going up and down and up and down.
It's hard, too. When that thing's not running, it's very hard to keep it level.
Yeah, the momentum.
It's like a bicycle. Yeah, it's like a bicycle. If you're not moving on a jet ski or a personal watercraft, the thing just wants to tip over and throw you off.
So but somehow I put the handle. I jiggered the handlebars in there.
Oh, please! It's a nice show up until now.
Wait, all right. So you didn't need a screwdriver or anything, right?
No. There's a gentleman going by on a boat, and I jiggered Never mind.
Yeah.
There's no way you got this thing started again.
I put it together and put the thing back on the kill switch, and I took a fucking breath. And I
hit that ignition. Now the ignition's on the handle. Isn't the ignition on the handlebars?
I don't remember how. I
You
don't
have to plug
No, it was on the body. It was like on the body underneath the handlebars.
Okay.
Wait, the kill switch is when your wrist pulls it out. This prevents it from going away.
Yeah.
Yes.
It kills the motor.
So I put the kill switch thing back on, and then I just took a breath and said something to myself like there's no. I can't pretend there's a God now. I never thought there was one before. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite and ask for help. I just fucking hope this shit starts. And I'm at this. I think I might be dying today. And I started it, and it started. And I just carefully went. And I went up. It was kind of gnarly.
Because now you got to go back up one of the waves, right?
It wasn't as bad going. I must have hit some weird
a road wave
because it wasn't as bad once I fell off the thing, and it wasn't as bad going back.
It was one of those.
My head was fucking burning, and I was also just getting sunburned by the second.
Let me tell you something.
When I came back, the woman's waiting for me, equally bored, and I didn't say nothing. I just fucking parked it and said, "Got my little license back."
It's all broken.
So, you know,
thank you.
Jesus, you didn't even tell her.
I didn't tell her.
People saying you should be dead.
It's easier on a jet ski to hit a wave head on.
Right.
Where the direction of the wave is coming at you. It's easier to go that way than to go with the wave. With the wave, you will fall off the other side of it. When you're going over a wave and it's coming at you, you jump it. And you kind of have a landing ramp behind the wave where the wave then tapers into water.
That's what you're supposed to do.
So when you go with the wave, that's when I noticed you fucking... Especially if you're going real fast, holy shit, you fall. Wham! I've jarred my back really where I felt like I was 2 inches shorter when you hit.
By the way, the boat I took to New York, the thing I found out later again, and all in retrospect, is that boat has a cathedral hull, which means it's a flat, weird. Yeah. It's not a
nice V hull.
It's not a V that's cutting through waves. It's this thing that's just pounding, just slapping. It's like a hand.
It's made for
a hand. It's just slapping.
It's made as a river boat.
Yes,
where it's a flat boat. Bottom. Yeah, yes. But a boat that's going to go through some waves, you want a V hull on it.
Nice.
Or the opposite of the kind of boat I wanted.
Yeah, yes. You had it would have been better to capsize your boat and ride on the bottom of it
than to kill my father the way I did. So poor dad.
Is a jet ski like you? So you should get one basically if you have like a big pool and just zip around on a nice still water. Yeah. Vroom.
They changed all the regulations because I used to go in Huntington Harbor and Asheville.
They don't want you to own those things anymore.
No. Here's what I would do. I had a front compartment that was supposed to be for flare gun and other safety equipment. All that shit went. I'd load it with ice and just throw beers in there and go out into the harbor and just tear it up full throttle, drinking a beer.
Yeah, of course.
And, the fucking patrol is kind of just going around, but they never bothered the jet ski. They didn't care until... You get a few people that die, and then they put all the regulations in place. And now, from what I hear, you can't even ride there.
No, that's the thing.
And if you can, no wake, no nothing.
The way cold beer on a boat by yourself, there's something about that that's just sickly wonderful.
It's just great. You're by yourself. You got the power of a boat.
It has to be a can of Bud. Like drinking.
That's what it was.
If you're drinking Italian beers in a bottle,
the sea air, just
not the same. I rented a jet ski recently, and the space they said, well, between that buoy, and that, it was unbelievable how awful it was.
Just little.
Yeah, it wasn't even worth taking the thing out. And they're just waiting to pull those guys over.
We jumped boat wakes when they would come in, and now they would fucking lock you up for doing that shit. There'd be a boat coming in, and the boat would see you wanted to jump a wake, so he'd gun it, make a big wake. You'd come right behind the boat, and that got real dangerous because you couldn't see who was trying to jump the wake from the other side.
Right.
And so many people just collided with each other. People wouldn't look, too, on jet skis. Like, the first thing you're doing, if you're really moving and you want to cut really hard left, look over your left fucking shoulder. Yeah. It's simple. It's like a car.
Driving. It's like driving.
People would just do it, cut, and wham, just get nailed by somebody else that's coming up on them.
So people would actually collide in midair?
As they were jumping over wakes, they'd come down on top of somebody else.
Yeah.
It was insanity. Crazy, but it was fun, an adventure. Like Louis said, you never knew if you were going to die that day.
No.